is we have 2/3 of a number reduced by 11 is equal to 4 more than the number. Find the number. So how are you going to use this in your real life? Well, very, very, very rarely will you ever be asked by somebody to save the world if you could just answer this question. Or very rarely are you going to be asked to complete your job, no matter what it may be, to answer this question. But what we're going to do is we're going to work on a couple techniques that are going to help you solve this problem. And why that's so important for you in this math class or in your life is what we're going to do is we're going to take something that's very abstract, doesn't really make too much sense. And what we're going to do is we're going to apply a certain amount of principles and techniques that we know that we can use to be able to solve this. Because in your life, you're always going to be dealing with problems. You're always going to be trying to solve problems, all right? And you're not always going to know the answer or how to do the problems. So you're going to have to just take what you know and do just what you know and eventually work through the problems. So that's what this is great practice for. Plus, we're going to learn a little bit more about math and noise. All right, so first of all, when I'm reading a word problem, I want to read it all the way through, which I just did. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to determine what is my question asking. And hint, hint, that's usually at the end. So find the number. So a lot of times, if I'm really struggling, I'm going to rewrite what the question is. So I need to find out what is the value of the number. Now, the reason why I rewrite it is I'm like, okay, well, I don't even know what number are you talking about? So therefore, when we're solving something like this, we're usually going to have to create a variable. And they're not going to always tell us what the variable represents. So your next step is you need to create or define a variable. So sometimes your variables will be defined. In here, they don't give us any variables. So I'm going to have to create one. And I'm going to say x. And remember, a variable represents something you don't know. So x is going to be the value of my number. Okay? So all I really did was I read the problem, I determined what it was asking, and I said, all right, well, I don't know what it's asking, what that answer is, so I'm just going to assign it a variable. Now, we need to know a couple techniques for math to solve this. It says 2/3 of a number. Well, 2/3 of a number is going to tell you you're going to be multiplying. So that's going to be 2/3 times a number, which would be x, reduced by 11. So I like to underline all these keywords. Reduced tells me I'm going to subtract, is equal tells me I'm going to equal to 4 more than the number. So I'm going to have my number again, plus 4. So now I have a big dilemma. What I have here is I need to solve for x. And holy crap, this looks like it's going to be pretty difficult. I have this fraction here. I have the x on both sides. So a couple things. To alleviate all your fears, I'll do it one way, and then I'll show you a second way. First thing that I would do with this fraction, I don't like having fractions, so I like to multiply it by 3. However, you can't just multiply a fraction by 3 and don't multiply the rest of the equation by 3. So I'm going to have to multiply everything times 3. A lot of times we represented that by 3 outside parentheses, and we use distributive property all the way across. So now those 3's cancel out to give me 1. 2 divided by 1 is 2. So I'm left with 2x minus 33 equals 3x plus 12. Now it's much easier for me to solve my problem. I get my variable on the same side I'm going to subtract the 2x, and I want to get rid of the variable on the left side because the one on the right side is greater and it's positive. So I always like keeping a positive variable. So I have negative 33 equals x plus 12. Now I get rid of my 12 by subtracting 12. And therefore x equals a negative 45. Now, for those of you that are not scared of fractions, let me show you one more way how to do this without freaking out about fractions. If I have 2/3, x minus 11 equals x plus 4. All right? Again, let's just subtract our fraction. Let's subtract 2/3. X. Well, crap. How do you do x minus, whatever, 2/3 x? Well, remember there's a 1 in front of that, right? And now I can put that as a 1/1. Well, to get these to be the same, you have to multiply by, you have to get the same denominator. So I'm going to have to multiply by 3/3. And 3 minus 2 is going to give me 1/3x. So I'm left with 1/3 x. So I put that back in my problem. So that canceled out to a -11 equals 1/3 x plus 4. Then I can subtract my 4 on both sides. So I get a -15 equals 1/3 x. To get rid of my fraction, I multiply by the reciprocal. And therefore I get -45 is equal to x, which is my exact same answer.